Shalom, shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all honor and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone where I learn this truth. And peace, blessing, and salutation to the Lord's elect of the nation of Israel, which consists of you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, and you Israelite foreigners that may look like the other nations. This is your brother Yaladba through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And pretty much this is a lesson going into Esau is collapsing, man. His system, his world, is getting ready to be brought down, man. Because we know that these Edomites, man, and those who are in league with them, they all proud, man. And we in the days where where neither their gold nor their silver or their riches is going to be able to save them, man. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is bringing judgment down, man. Let me get that. Neither neither your gold or silver. It's Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 18. And this is the spirit of the Lord. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, right? And we coming into the day where Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is getting ready to visit this world with wrath, man, against the world, and only those who are going to be in peace are his elect, but the rest of the world, they getting ready to experience the wrath of the Lord, man. And there's going to be nothing that's going to be able to deliver them, but the whole land shall be devoured by fire of his jealousy, right? And this is speaking about the land of America, man, who's run by the so-called white man, the so-called Jew of the Bible, which really he's done but an Edomite, man, the basis of all men, reading on, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of them all that dwell in the land, right? And Yahweh Shai is getting ready to destroy this place, man, quickly. The scripture said, let me pull that up. 1 hour. Let me get that here. This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 26, and verse 40. Let me just pull it up. Salakia is taking this is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 26, and verse 40, in the KJV. And he cometh unto his disciples and findeth them asleep. And Peter said unto him, oh no, this ain't the one. Wait, let me read. This is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 10, Salakia. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come, right? And Yahweh Shai, man, he's getting ready to destroy this place within 1 hour, man, for all the fornication committed, all the idolatry, man, all the crimes that they've done, leading our people of Israel, the 2/3, to follow after them, man. And there's gonna be, nothing left, man. Babylon's getting ready to come down, man. We see that Babylon the Great is, it's at its last legs, man. And the Lord, what he's also doing, he's also gathering all the nations, he's gathering all the nations, to prepare for war, man. The Lord is getting ready to totally destroy Babylon the Great, for their crimes, man. You know, let me get this here. This Isaiah 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, right? And, we know that the dust represents confusion, and the ground, dust is where the ground is, man. You know, um, there is no throne, and you're right. There's nothing to be, you're not really in rulership, man. It's the Lord who controls everything, but Esau, Edom, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate, right? There's nothing, um, your beauty is been uncovered, man. Your all that, everything is getting ready to be brought down here in Babylon, man. Take the millstone and grind meal, uncover thy lots, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen, right? And we see that all throughout the world, you got people calling out America's bullshit, man. I will take vengeance and I will not meet thee as a man, right? Yahweh Shem Yahushai is getting ready to come down, and he's not finna meet people as the meek, the lamb, the lamb of the Lord, man. He's coming back as the lion of the tribe of Judah to totally destroy this place, man. For as your Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel, right? Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms, right? And you ain't that precious, you know, desire land anymore, man. You're not the place where everybody want to be at, everybody want to go. This shit is totally collapsing, man. Verse 6, I was wroth with my people, Israel. I have polluted my inheritance and given them into thine hand. And the Lord, he gave us up, to these other nations for our crimes against them, man. Thou didn't show them no mercy. Upon the ancient has thou very heavily laid thy yoke, right? And these other nations, man, they've been cruel to us, man. Going into Joel the third chapter, what they did throughout to our people, man. They pretty much, what they did is, they spoiled us, man. They sold our young men, our boys as harlots, women as drinks, throughout all the captivities, man. These other nations have a part in all of that, man. But mainly the main corporate, the main, villain is Esau Edom, Verse 7, and thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, right? And Esau think that, they just, they innocent, and what is a lady? A lady, she's always she try to be innocent, try to put the blame on other people, all these other things, man. So thou didst not lay these things to thine heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it, right? And the Lord, man, he's getting ready to bring down these nations, bring down Esau, Edom, and to judge them, man. Therefore, hear now this, that thou art given to pleasures, right? And Esau, Edom, these nations, 2/3, they given into pleasure, man. That dwelleth carelessly, that saith in their heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall sit as a widow, neither shall I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children, right? And again, this is going into Babylon, man. This is going into Esau, Edom. Esau think that they just untouchable. They got the greatest of militaries. That they got the highest forms of defense. The greatest of weapons. They think that they not gonna be, leaving their women and children behind. They don't think they gonna lose their children. They don't think they gonna lose their own life, man. They think that they just gonna continue forever, you know. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, right? The loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments, right? And we know that Esau Edom, he's the biggest sorcerer there is, man. You know, he over here, doing all sorts of shit, man. All sorts of wickedness, the frequencies that this world gives off, man. You know, everything, man, is an enchantment, you know, and only the elect, because we know that the scriptures say that uh, no enchantment, there shall be no enchantment that shall prosper against Jacob, man. The elect of Jacob. This is Numbers 23 and 23. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time, it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what hath God wrought, right? What hath the Most High wrought, right? And we know that there's no enchantment that shall, overcome the elect, man, But 2/3 of our people, man, they've been given over unto the devil, because they've chosen that path, man, And for all that, the Lord is getting ready to totally bring them down, man, to destroy them, Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, and thou hast said, none seeth me, right? And Esau think that nobody's watching. They think that they got all these underground whatever where they do their witches and all sorts of wickedness. They think that nobody seeth them, man. But the Lord do. Thine wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, right? And Esau, we know that there's nobody more perverted than the Edomite man and woman, man. And the other nations in 2/3, man, they applaud that shit and they seek to become that, And for that, they gonna be totally brought down as well, And now has set in thine heart, I am and none else beside me, right? And Esau, again, he think that, he's just the pinnacle of mankind, But really, the scriptures call him the basis of all men, Verse 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. So again, the Lord is getting ready to come back as a thief in the night, unto 2/3, unto these nations, especially Esau, Edom, and mischief shall fall upon thee, right? They gonna ain't nothing. And we know that Esau is the most mysterious person, man. And everything is all judgment is finna double down on his wicked ass, man. And Babylon the Great. Thou shalt not be able to push it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou not know, right? Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so, thou shalt be able to profit. If so, thou mayest prevail. And we know that Esau and Edom ain't never gonna put down them enchantments. We know that Esau is always gonna continue in his wickedness, his witchcraft, his rebellion, his sorceries. And we know that 2/3 is gonna be following behind him. And for all those things, man, they gonna be brought down very low. Verse 13. Thou art weary in thy multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers and stargazers, the monthly prognosticators, stand up and save thee with these things that shall come upon thee, right? And again, these astrologers, these stargazers, these prognosticators, them niggas ain't gonna be able to save you people, man. They ain't gonna be able to save you, Esau. You totally through, man. Your money, that shit ain't nothing's gonna be able to help you out, bro. You totally consumed, man. The Lord is finna destroy you. and you 2/3 that follow after, man, y'all better pray that, that the judgment come upon y'all quickly, man. But really, you niggas is gonna suffer too, man, because what y'all done unto the servants, the prophets, what y'all done to the Lord, y'all getting ready to suffer right along with your father, the devil, man. Behold, verse 14. Behold, they shall be as stubble, right? Y'all finna be brought down and ain't gonna be nothing left. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame, right? And this flame is Yahweh Shai, man. The fire, There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before, right? And there ain't gonna be nothing left, man. You know, y'all the marshmallows that's being burnt up, man. And y'all finna be consumed, And the eyes of the elect and the eyes of the Lord is gonna be cheering. We gonna be glad because hey, wickedness ain't gonna be able to prosper no more, man. Verse 15, thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, and none shall save it, right? And again, all those who've labored with Esau's wickedness, all those who've further, who continued, who did all the shit to further Esau's kingdom, they all gonna get they all gonna get dealt with, man. Let me go here because I brought it up. Joel, the 3rd chapter. This is Joel 3 and verse 1. For behold, in those days, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather the nations, right? And the Lord, what he's doing is gathering the elect of the northern and the southern kingdom, he's gathering us together with him in one accordance with him, on one mind, pushing the same word, with the same mindset, man. And he's also gathering all the nations, man. He's gathering all the nations, and we're gonna read why. And we'll bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, right? In the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, which means the Most High's judgment. The nations are gonna be gathered, there to be judged, man, because all these nations that took part, with ruling over our people and having their way, and the Lord is getting ready to bring them down to the Persian Gulf, and judge their ass, man. They finna be totally dealt with, and will plead with them there for my people and my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land, right? And we know again, all these nations got a hand in having a way with our people, man. And the Lord is getting ready to bring them down. Verse 3, and they have cast lots for my people, and they have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, right? And the Lord, he's coming back to bring them down, man. For doing these crimes against our people, man. Sodomizing our young men. Giving up our women is worse than harlots, man. They totally polluted our people, man. That they might drink, that they might be happy. And man, these nations, man, all you people got something coming for y'all, man. Even the rebellious of our people, man. Because they got a hand in that too. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Thyra and Zidon? And we know that Thyra and Zidon, it was an import, where places would get shipped out and shipped in, and all the coast of Palestine, right? And, so pretty much them Ishmaelites, them Hamites, and Esau, Edom, they all was in league with having a way with our people, man. Beating our people down, bringing them down, separating families, doing all sorts of wickedness, man. Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? So, hey, man, again, there's nothing you nations and you Edomites can do. There's no recompense that y'all. There's no, because Jake, they like to talk about shit. They always bring it up. Jake always talking about we need to be uh, it's like compensated. Get money for the slavery that was done, but even that ain't enough, man. You know, and you niggas who want that, y'all just some sellouts, man. Who crying out for that? Yeah, it would be cool if all the tribes got broken some bread for the crimes that Esau Edom has done. But hey, man, that ain't enough. You know, you still uh, at the bottom. You still to tell. In this world. You know, verse 5. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things, right? And again, these nations, man, they took us in and brought us in their temples and made us, to serve their powers and serve all these different bullshit, man. Took us away from who we are, made us weak, made us trusting in them rather than trusting in the Lord. Hey, man, that's a crime that they gonna have to pay for too, you know. Let me get this Jeremiah. This the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, in verse. I'll just start here at 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon and assemble in an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence shall she be taken. Their arrows shall be as of mighty expert men. None shall return in vain, right? And we know, this is speaking about the thermonuclear missiles, man, that's getting ready to come down against Babylon. And it says, their arrow shall be as an expert man, right? And we know that this expert man is Yahweh Shai, and these missiles that's getting ready to be shot up onto Babylon, they going to be guided by the Lord, man. The Lord is going to be guiding them missiles, and they shall not miss. Verse 10. And a Chaldean shall be a spoil at all her, and let me read that again. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord, right? And Babylon the Great, man, they finna be spoiled, and those nations that spoiled this place, man, they gonna be glad and satisfied, as the scriptures say, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of my heritage, because ye are grown fat as heifers at grass and ballows as bulls, right? And these nations have grown fat over the backs of the so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, the children of Israel. The Lord, he's gonna, pretty much get you in your fatness, man, in your riches. We brought this out yesterday at camp. Yahweh Shai even said it. This is Luke 6:24. Woe unto you who are rich, for ye already received your comfort, right? And you niggas is comfortable right now, but and y'all well fed. But hey, we gonna get ready to read it. 25. Woe unto you who are well fed now, for ye will go hungry. Woe unto you who laugh now, for ye will mourn and weep. Woe unto you when everyone speaketh well of you, for that is how our ancestors treated the false prophets, right? And again, all our 2/3 always speak well of Esau, man. Always speak well of these nations, but they don't regard those who actually, they don't regard the servants, the prophets, man. Jake, when they see us out in the highways and hedges, they really don't give a damn until they see an Edomite over there talking they shit. Then they go over there, inquire, then they over there like, man, y'all just some haters, man. Jake is just totally fucked off in the mind, man. That's why 2/3 got to go as well, man, because they partaken and they've aided in Esau's richness and his comfortability and him being well fed, our people, man, they support that, and for that they gonna be judged. So pretty much, this lesson can go on all day. I'm gonna have to make a part two on this, going into, the fall and of this kingdom, Babylon the Great. So with that, I'm gonna just close, and I pray this was an edifying lesson. And I want to give all honor and praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakaha Kudash. Once again, you know, pray this was an edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And with that, Shalom.